everyone. I'm here in Nosara, Costa Rica, and taking some surfing lessons thanks to the great guys at Agua Tibia. Awesome coaches teaching me how to surf. And I realized that there's probably some good Ki-Hara Resistance stretches that would be perfect for a surfer and getting you primed. If you're not familiar with resistance stretching and Ki-Hara, it's a little bit different than conventional stretching because you're contracting the muscle as we lengthen it. Unlike regular stretching where you're just pulling on the muscle, which leaves the muscle overstretched and oftentimes underactive, long, and weak. We want you to be strong, powerful, and explosive when you're popping up on that board. So here's two stretches to get you started. So remember, there's two phases to the stretch. There's a strength phase where you're taking the muscle from a long position to a short position. And then there's a stretch phase where you take the muscle from a short position to a long position under resistance. So the muscle's always engaged. You never go past the point where you can't maintain a contraction of the muscle. So the first one we're going to do is the hip flexor. We're going to do hip flexor on one leg and hamstring on the other. So it's really economical too, time-wise. So if we think about the hip flexor is flexing the hip, right? So if I think I'm going to drive my left knee up to my chest, it's going to shorten my hip flexor. So the front leg is going to provide a little bit of a resistance. So I'm thinking of driving my left knee up to my chest, shortening that hip flexor. Front leg, this is going to stay engaged, right? So we'll start in a long position. My left knee tries to drive up to my chest. Front leg slows me down. For the stretch, I'm going to keep pulling, trying to pull my knee up to my chest. Front leg is going to pull it open. This guy is still working. Now the left hip flexor wins, shortens, contracts. Front leg, right leg pulls it open. But this is fighting the whole time. So we're really going to get some good activation, some good lengthening, but not lose strength and really help improve explosiveness so that you can get that good pop on the board. So we got that left hip flexor. Now we're going to work on that right hamstring. I'm going to just kick my heel into the sand and get a good spot here. I'm going to think like I'm trying to do a little leg curl here, right? So I'm pulling my heel towards my butt, right? So that's getting a good activation in my hamstring. So I'm warming it up, strengthening that hamstring, taking it from long to short, kicking my heel towards my glute. Now for the stretch phase, I'm going to continue to feel like my heel's pulling towards my glute, and now I'm going to bring my glute back. So I'm lengthening that hamstring under tension, lengthening it under resistance. So kick heel to glute one more time. I'm continuing to kick that heel towards my glute. The sand is stopping me, and my glute is lengthening back. And I'm only going as far as I can maintain that contraction. So now I'm going to switch legs. Get a little bit of that sand off. So now I'm going to go after that right hip flexor. So I'm going to go into forward lunge. I'm thinking of driving my right knee up towards my chest as if I were going to run, right? So the right knee is driving up to the chest. The front leg is helping slow me down. The right knee is going to continue to drive up. The left leg is going to pull that hip flexor open. I mean, thinking of that hip as a hinge. So the right hip closes, the left leg pulls that hinge open as that right hinge is trying to fight the whole time. One more, contracting, keeping that hip flexor contracted, left leg pulls it open. Now we can finish off, get that left hamstring working and firing and getting it all great for your ride. So, heel is in the ground. So I'm a little past 90. Here would be 90, maybe about 110, 120. This way my heel can pull like I'm doing a leg curl. I'm driving my heel towards my butt and it's staying locked in the sand. So I'm shortening that hip flexor. This would be strengthening. Now for the stretch, I'm going to continue to pull that heel towards my glute, sit my butt back. Pull my heel towards my glute, keep that hamstring engaged, drive that hip back, lengthening that hamstring under tension. And it can get a little tricky at the end as I I draw that glute back, I can just do a little rotation in my heel. So I can think of my femur rotating in the socket. That's just going to get a nice little lengthening and freeing up of some of the hamstring muscles. So I hope that helps get you started and get you on a great ride out there. Enjoy the day and enjoy the waves.